Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Greetings to you from wherever you're watching from and whatever the time is there. My name is Annabelle Benson. I'm the general manager of Corinthia Villa Hotel and I'm your Hospitality Edge coach. Hospitality Edge is basically a platform where we discuss ideas, skills, tips, and generally knowledge on how to thrive and excel in the hospitality industry. I remember, like I would always say, the hospitality industry, even though it falls under hotels, restaurants, lounges, etc. But anyone and everyone that deals with customers, clients, guests, people generally would benefit from these tips that we share. But today I'm going to be dealing with a core hospitality industry aspect, which is the F&B department. So today we're going to be sharing tips for effective F&B service in a hotel. I have about 20 of them, but I'm going to try to discuss maybe like 10 of them today, and in the subsequent video we finish it up, or let's see how it goes. But like I would always tell my staff and I would always tell people that I train, as much as the hospitality industry is known for service generally, you see the F&B department, that's where the service lies. That's where service is important. That's where service can be remembered. That's where service should be known. The knowledge of service should be top notch, basically. So today, I have number one being know your menu and know it like a pro. A lot of us in the hospitality industry, F&B department specifically, don't know our menu. Our menu is like our handbook. That menu should be like your handbook. That menu should be like your diary or something. The F&B department, you should know it like a pro. Know its contents, know the prices. You can't tell a guest that, oh, a plate of Indomie is 5,000 naira, and when the guest opens the menu, you see that a plate of Indomie is 8,000 naira. You should study your menu and know it like a pro. Know it off heart, because you could be called randomly by a guest, and that's not the time to rush to the books to try to search out the particular meal the guest is talking about, or a guest is asking for your availables and you don't even know your availables. When you come in the morning, those are part of the things you should take note of. What are my availables? What do I have available? What are the rates for the availables, basically? So please know your menu and know it like a pro. The second point is speed plus accuracy. Now, this is in three parts. Some people know how to be fast, and that makes them inaccurate. Some people know how to be accurate, but that makes them slow. As an F&B staff, you must marry speed and accuracy. And trust me, that breeds excellence. Ensure that the things you're doing is done right and is done fast and is done excellently as well. That's a skill that an F&B staff should have. You cannot be slowly trying to take an order or slowly trying to meet up with what or with guest demands, and then in the name of you're trying to be accurate. No, you must marry speed, you must marry accuracy, and you must marry excellence. The third point is give a warm welcome at all times. First impression matters. A simple smile. You don't have to carry a welcome drink. You don't have to have welcome cakes or welcome cookies. A simple smile in a welcoming, beautiful, sweet tone matters a lot. Sometimes when people walk into a restaurant, the way you make them feel would make them hungry and make them want to order and enjoy their meal, even when the food is not sweet. Trust me. When you make people from the first impression, the person is already downcast. No matter what you serve there, no matter how sweet that food is, trust me, that guest is going to have a bad impression. So first impression matters. So please put on a smile, have a welcoming tone, a welcoming voice, and that will basically set the tone for the amazing experience the person is about to have. The next point is upsell, but don't be pushy. A lot of us don't know what upselling means. Upselling means a guest comes to order, maybe a guest wants to order a particular drink, and maybe you don't even have that drink in store, but you have another drink that might even be more expensive or less, or it depends. And then you suggest that drink to the guest. You suggest it in such a sweet manner that the guest would forget the other order that the guest has and want to buy into this your order. That's upselling. But most of us, oftentimes, we're usually pushy with our upselling. No, you shouldn't take this, you should take that. Don't take guava flavor, take watermelon. Watermelon is better than flavor guava because you can say it in suggestive and very professional tones. Yes, suggestive, and very professional tones. Upsell, but don't be pushy. Let's try not to get pushy with upselling. The next point is polish your setup. Most times, people go to restaurants and then you raise a glass and you see marks on the glass, you see hand marks on the glass. You could just tell that this glass is not clean, or this cutlery is not clean, or this plate is not clean. Sweetheart, polish your setup, clean it up. How clean the setup is goes a long way to determine how eager a guest will be to continue to stay in that restaurant at that time. If I walk into a restaurant and your setup is not clean, I see hand marks on your glass, I see that your spoons or your cutlery or your forks, your cutlery generally are not clean, your plates are not clean, I will gladly walk out of that restaurant. It doesn't matter how cheap your food is, it doesn't matter how sweet your food is. So please, polish your setup and polish it. Well, arrange it properly. Forks should be where the fork ought to be. The knife should be where the knife ought to be. The spoon should be where the spoon ought to be. Please, to be done professionally. The next point is take orders clearly and confirm. I've gone to a restaurant before, and that particular day, I was seriously craving boiled yam and egg sauce. Like, I was craving it, and that was what I wanted to eat. And then Secondly, they delayed my order. They delayed that order for about an hour. I don't know whether it was at the time I made that order they were going to market. I really cannot tell, but they shall delayed the order. But my consolation was that at the end of this wait, I am going to have boiled yam and egg sauce. And this person returns with fried yam and sauce, not egg sauce now. Fried yam and sauce. Now, he didn't get the boiled yam. He didn't get the egg sauce. Fried yam and sauce. I was thrown. In fact, I was angry. Because like they say, a hungry man is an angry man. So imagine you get my orders. You get a hungry customer's order wrong. That's a lost guest. Definitely that guest is not going to return. That guest is going to be very angry. And that's already review. It's down, 0 for you. So please, get orders right. If you don't understand what a guest says, repeat all the guests repeat after you, repeat after you. Boiled yam and egg sauce. Then repeat boiled yam and egg sauce, right? Let the guest answer, no, but I had even that lady told that guy, was the guy told me that day, okay, fried yam and sauce, right? And I said, no, boiled yam and egg sauce. But he didn't, he just told, yeah, he got it, and then brought the wrong order completely. So please take your orders correctly. Then know your guest preferences. I said this in my previous videos that for you to have your guests return over and over, and for you to make your guests feel good at all times, know their preferences, especially for return guests. Know what they prefer, know what they like, know what their diet is about. Know stuff about your guests, but know their preferences. This goes a long way in ensuring that guests are satisfied and guests return. Remember that the main aim of all of this is guest satisfaction, is return guests. It's for money to enter your pocket at the end of the day. So know your guest preferences and address them as such. The next point is communication. Communicate right with the guests, with the kitchen, with the bar, with yourself. Yes, communicate right. There should not be a communication friction between the F&B department and the kitchen. There should not be a communication friction between the F&B department and the bar. There shouldn't be a communication friction between the F&B department and the guest. Communicate right. Seamless communication, seamless linking always leads to perfect service. Perfect service. You now find out that there's one beef between the person that took the order and the person in the kitchen that he's giving the order to, and they don't share the information right, and the communication is broken and things are ruined, and at the end of the day, guest is dissatisfied, money is lost basically. So please, there should be seamless communication between the F&B department and the kitchen, the F&B department and the bar. Seamless communication. The next point is be attentive but not intrusive. Be attentive to when your guest's glass is empty. Be attentive to when your guest's plate is empty. Don't hover. You know, some of us hover. A guest is you're hovering all around the person. Oh, are you okay? Oh, there's a way to do it professionally, not to hover. What we have most times, people hovering around you. We give the guest time, but be attentive, basically. The next point is handle guest complaints gracefully. I've shared earlier in my previous videos how to handle guest complaints effectively. So maybe you can look it up in my previous videos. But for F&B staff, handle complaints gracefully. Act quickly, act right. If it's above you, involve your superior immediately. Then dress the part. The next point is dress the part. Your dressing matters. If a guest walks into a restaurant and sees that the F&B staff there are looking like people that are probably supposed to be packing trash on the streets, with due respect to that job, it would turn them off from eating. So dress the part. Neat fingernails, neat hair, tidy makeup, tidy dressing. Basically, dress the part. And then the next point, which is the final point I'm going to share for today, is end the service memorably. End the service memorably. Some of us tend to leave a bad impression on the guest, and then when the guest is leaving, that guest will swear by everything in his or her life that he's not going to return there. So ensure that it is your assignment to end the service memorably. End with a goodbye. End with a when will I see you next, sir? End with a hope you enjoyed your meal. End it sweet, professional, and memorable. I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to educate the F&B department in the hospitality industry a little. I might not know all, but this is with the few experience I've had. This is with the few knowledge. This is the few knowledge I have that I've shared with you, and I'm hoping that F&B staff in every organization gets a thumbs up always, and the review is top notch always. Thank you.